Ginger, who left all these guitars here?
Cody Guitars.
Hootie? Who the hell is Cody? Hey! Buddy!
Guitar Stuff with John!
Welcome to another Guitar Stuff with John. And you'll notice right away, we have things in the room that aren't usually here. Guitars, amps, and a guy, and he builds guitars. And I'm doing this video, we're having fun here, because I get asked all the time what my preferences are for electric guitars, and I've always been a Gretsch man or a Fender man, Tele mostly, a little bit of Stratocaster. Right now I'm playing a Yamaha electric that I like a lot. But I've been seeing these guitars built by this gentleman right here called Cody for quite a while now. And I started to wonder, and then someone told me that he lives, 15 minutes from here?
Yeah, about that.
Couldn't believe it. So I reached out to Mr. Eric McLean. Eric, thank you for coming. This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
This is awesome. So, in my quest to feature not only Canadian builders, but Nova Scotian builders, there's a lot of them.
There is.
There's a lot of flat top builders, there's fiddle builders, mandolin, electric guitar, basses. Everything is built right here in this province. Mm-hmm. If you know where to look for it. And you and I talked about that. You said there were probably upwards of 40 builders here.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, so it's a great honor to have you here, and I was just playing some of these before we started rolling the tape, and boy, we're gonna have fun today. But before we do, I just want to take a second to introduce you to everybody. Tell us why you started building electrics in particular.
Well, when I was in my 30s, I wanted to learn to play guitar.
Right.
I had no music people in my family, none, zero. And after about 5 years, I realized I wasn't going to learn to play guitar. I went through a Seagull and a Simon & Patrick and one of those composite acoustics.
Oh, yes.
And it wasn't the guitar's problem. So I ended up with a Yamaha electric. And I played around with that, and I took it apart because I've got a mechanical background. Took it apart and played with it and made it better.
Right on.
And then I thought, well, maybe I can build a guitar.
Yeah. Isn't it always the way, though, with electric builders?
Yeah.
Many of the people that I know that build electrics, right all the way back to like Les Paul and Leo Fender, they were experimenting with things, prototypes, mm-hmm. and just trying to make an existing product work better.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't believe how many times I've heard that, especially from electric instrument builders. There's a lot of them. Nick Tipney used to build, he was an electric violin builder. And I'm not going to be able to call the name of the company now. He's retired and doesn't build them anymore, unfortunately. He only made 400 instruments. But he perfected electric fiddles, in my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. I just seen him a couple of nights ago at a festival. And that was the same thing with him. He was like, well, there's got to be a better way to do this, right?
I don't know if it's a better way.
A different way.
A different way. I mean... Yeah.
And I can say right away, after playing only two of these guitars, that they're not like anything I've ever played. They have your personality on them.
I try.
They are, well, we're going to get into that because we're going to show you all five of these. He brought 5 guitars with him. Unbelievable. And also, your pricing is really good. It's amazing, actually. I know a lot of people would charge a lot more for an instrument like this, but you seem to get by with...
It's not a business yet.
Yeah.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
So...
Well, it's some hobby.
Yeah.
Wait till you see these guitars. This is a hobby.
It keeps me occupied and keeps me broke.
Yeah.
And keeps the wife out of my hair.
Do you have like a favorite... What is your favorite production electric? What would you play... What do you like to? I know you don't play very much, but what if you could play? What would be the guitar you'd envision playing?
It would be a Gretsch.
Really?
It would be a Gretsch because, I mean, wow.
Yeah, they are awesome.
The Chet Atkins, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Chet Atkins fan.
I am too. Yeah.
Fenders for Jerry Reed.
Yeah.
Jerry Reed, phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the same with me. If I had my druthers right now, I would have a great Gretsch, but they're very difficult to find now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big shortage of them. So, how many guitars have you built so far, and sold? I should say. How many have you sold?
I've built about 60.
That's a lot.
There's a few that didn't make it for various reasons.
Right.
Production problems in the middle. And I've got 7 demos.
Nice.
That I keep at home for anybody that wants to try, and they're all different.
Yeah.
If you go on the website, there's 40 guitars on the website.
Wow.
A few were made before the website existed. So.
Right. And are you one of those builders that won't copy an existing guitar that you've made?
No.
You'll
I will
do
not.
this. You won't.
No.
So every guitar must be different.
If I'm building it, I may come close to copying, but I'm not going to copy a Fender or a Les Paul or anything like that.
I just mean your own designs.
Oh, my own designs?
Yeah.
I will leave that up to the owner.
Right.
If a second person wants it, I'll ask the original.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that's also a thing too. You hear a lot from luthiers, especially with this type of instrument you can build sort of an identical one.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people won't. They'll be like, nope. They're one-offs, and the client wants a one-of-a-kind instrument. But I mean, that's the beauty of small boutique builders, is that's all they build is one-offs. It doesn't really matter, that's what it is. Even guys as big as Boucher, Robin, I mean, obviously he builds multiples of the same model and the same wood, but every one of them is different. Yeah. They may look sort of the same, and they might, for most intents and purposes, but they all have a different flavor and feel and tone, and you don't get that from the bigger factories, right? And
if you're going to build custom, it has to be custom.
Yeah.
And everybody that wants a guitar from me wants their own stamp on it.
Right.
And I do my best to make it the one they want.
Now, you said you had recently built some stuff for people. You're building for outside the region a lot too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. How far afield have you sold?
I've sent one to Seattle.
Wow.
I've got 2 in Ontario. A couple in New Brunswick.
Yeah. Any maritime artists playing your guitars?
Andrew Freilich has one.
Oh, sweet. Well, we got to get that happening. That's the whole reason we do this. There really is not a lot of if you in my opinion, from meeting you and meeting other people that I know here that build instruments, you could literally pretty well play everything from this province. The only thing I don't believe is built here, and I could be wrong, are banjos. I don't think anybody's building 5-string banjos. I could be wrong about that, but I know there's a mandolin builder, like a world-class mandolin builder. There's yourself building electrics. There's Gagnon up in Pictou building flat tops. There's and Otis Thomas, and who's the famous guy that built for Keith Richards? I can't remember his name right now to save myself.
Exactly, yeah.
But Rosani.
George Rosani.
Rosani. That's just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
You could literally go out in the province of Nova Scotia and complete your entire shopping list of every instrument imaginable.
For sure.
From bass right to everything, right? So, yeah, this is really cool. So I'd really want to take a look at these and play them for you, because I was playing a couple of them before we even started recording. And they're very good guitars. So, Eric, we have the first one in hand that I was playing before we started. I love this guitar. Tell us about this.
This is what I call my J body.
Yep.
Each of my guitars has a letter for the body shape. This one is about 2,000-year-old California Redwood top.
Mahogany
body.
Look at that. I mean, I just love the wood in this. It's so gorgeous. And the hardware is gorgeous. You picked the right hardware for it. And look, we'll see this close up, but the plate of that redwood that's on the top is a full 1/4 inch thick, which is not something builders do. Like you go to the big companies and they use an exotic wood like that. That laminate is like that.
Yeah.
It's just like paper. You put a very substantial, and that contributes to the sound of the guitar.
For sure.
So yeah. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Most of the bodies I make, if it's a cap on a body type thing, there's 5 chambers inside.
Yeah. Where are they located?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
Each a different size.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, and some players' mind, it may add a little more resonance to the guitar.
I think it does. Just from the amount of sustain that I'm hearing from these, the sustain is just endless.
And it takes about a pound
Yeah.
out of each guitar.
Wow. And a rosewood fingerboard.
Rosewood.
And maple neck.
Yep.
A gloss finish maple neck. 3-piece. Is that an actual 3-piece or just a decoration?
No, that's just the skunk stripe for the truss rod.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. It's been a while since I handled electrics, of any degree, because I just don't play a lot of electric anymore. And
maybe we can change that.
yeah, I think we should. That's the neck pickup. I love the sound of that too. Just gorgeous. It will just go and go. It's the beauty of the joint, the neck joint on these guitars. There's a mixture of the 2 pickups. Very telly.
Yep.
And then your bridge pickup. That really is telly.
Yep.
Like it's nicer than telly, I think. I used to always play Telecasters, and I find now that if you went and bought a new Telecaster, they're so thin, they don't have any meat on them anymore, right? But this one reminds me. Beautiful. Like for me, if I needed an electric for a country gig, this would be the guitar, right? This could give you everything, and plus now tell me about the choices of hardware. What are these pickups that you've used? Because I noticed you use different pickups and everything, right?
Those pickups are Bill Lawrence.
Okay.
From the States.
Right.
He worked for Gibson, he worked for Fender, he worked for Gretsch, he worked for everybody. He died a couple of years ago at 92. And his pickups are just phenomenal. They're so clean.
I know. It really is clean. And they got and I can see, knowing, I've only just met you half an hour ago, but just talking to you about how you're making some of these choices, it makes sense to me that you've put these particular pickups in this guitar because of the nature, the characteristics of the wood you're using. And it works. Do you have any? Are you just trial and error when you're figuring out, or do you know this? Is there a science behind it, or what?
Well, when I first built the guitar and I was choosing electronics and pickups and stuff for it, in my brain, you wanted as clean a pickup as you could put in it.
Right.
And then after that, you can pedal it to death and put your distortion and everything on it. But if you don't start clean, you're not going to get clean.
Right.
So, Bill Lawrence is clean.
And yeah. And this choice too is interesting. This Gibson style toggle, right? For your pickup.
That's
position.
because of the wood.
Is that right?
That wood is very fragile, and to put
you don't want to put the big long.
No, you have to thin the top out to put a Fender switch in it.
Oh wow! Okay. See, I'm learning something. I don't know any of these things. This is amazing. All right, so let's go to guitar number 2.
Okay.
All right, here's guitar number 2. What now? Before we go on,
Sure.
What's the retail of that other guitar, the first one?
That one, I'd have to look it up. I'm going to guess probably about 1,500.
Incredible. That's an incredible price for a guitar, a handmade guitar.
I try.
Of that quality.
Yeah.
Now tell me about this one.
This one...
I love this.
This one is my D body.
Okay.
Obviously what it's shaped after.
Yep.
This one is a big leaf maple
Yep.
from BC.
Mahogany again for the body.
Mahogany on the body. Their maple is different from ours. It's not as hard as ours.
Yep.
And it has a nicer tone than our... Seymour Duncan pickups.
Mm-hmm.
JB in the bridge and a jazz in the neck.
Yeah.
Coil splits on the tone control.
Yep. I have the lifter right here. If you want to split the coils. Yeah. And I was playing this one. It's amazing how much this thing is like sort of a true hybrid of a Strat and a Tele. When I put it on the bridge pickup, you couldn't believe the meat on it, but it still had all that zing, right? But there's the neck. It's very Gretchy. Beautiful. Both pickups. Like that, to me, that's very Gretchy. Just get that sort of almost Gretsch, right? But this. So much meat on it for that kind of guitar. If you play all those old country licks and stuff, this thing is deadly. It's got way more meat on it than a Tele, but still has that Tele character, which I love. I love it. But it's like a Strat style body.
Strat style body.
Also interesting, right? Yes, sir. I love the pickguard.
That was the first guitar I built with a pickguard.
Really?
I had never put one on before.
Wow, it's beautiful. The perfect choice for this top color.
Yeah.
That's perfect for that. And what's the retail on this now?
I'll guess 17 again.
Okay, right. So if somebody wants to buy one of these guitars,
Yes.
do they actually buy this guitar? Are you going to build them another one like it, or how do you do it?
There's a couple on that I use for demos that I would sell. That one I would sell.
Right on.
There's nothing really special about that guitar.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, it's pretty.
It's pretty, and it plays. I mean, I can't. It's hard to relay to an audience what it feels like to play this guitar, but the guitar basically plays by itself. The neck is just like butter. Even though this is another gloss neck, it doesn't feel like gloss. It's very smooth, and it's the fretboard is everything is done right, perfectly. I love it. All right, see the next one. All right, here's guitar number 2. Tell us about this one, Eric.
This one is my attempt to get down in price.
Right.
It's a solid body. It's just local Eastern pine.
I love the knots in this thing, and it's book matched, right? So
Well, it's not. It was just from the same board.
really,
Yep.
because these look like they've been flipped open.
No.
And there's even you can see the knot, there's a split in the knot there that's really, really cool.
Yeah. They're
I love that. It looks like a butterfly or something down there.
on the back. You can see the other side of the knots.
Yeah, I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. And it's a satin finish, satin neck.
Satin finish, satin neck. The pickups from that one are from Newfoundland. A guy named Craig Vineham
Nice.
in Botwood, Newfoundland.
Sweet. There you go. Shout out to this man.
Yep.
Making pickup. As I was just telling Eric, this guitar is not any better than the other two I've played, but I'm drawn to this guitar. I don't know why. I am. It's just there's something about this one. Just like that, super clean. Just so clean.
They're great pickups.
It's good. It's yeah, but I mean, geez, you can have the best pickup in the world. If it's a piece of crap, it's gonna sound like crap.
Yes.
The way that you're building these guitars and the neck joints and just what you're doing is working in a big way. Like that guitar. Now, what does that retail for?
That one's $10.75.
Like, why wouldn't you buy that? Like, I mean, I'm changing over to guitars like that all across the entire spectrum of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Is guitars that are right at the $1,000 price point because they're sometimes better than a $5,000-$6,000 name brand guitar.
Well,
you know, my Yamaha I just bought is a $1,000 guitar, and like, I don't know, man. Like I've recently been on the warpath for an electric for about 6 months now because I wanted to replace my old Gretsch Electromatic, which I ended up selling, and I have not quite found. I mean, that might do it, but I still, in my heart, want that Gretsch, right? Mm. But I went through tons of guitars like this because I'm such a Tele fan. And I played Teles and Strats in every L&M in the Maritimes just about for 6 months. Yeah. And didn't find one that even remotely approached this. And some of them were $2,000, $3,000. Like, yeah.
Some guitars are getting really insane.
I know.
Pricing wise.
Yeah, the names are driving the price, and the legacy is driving the price. Yes. And people get fooled by it. And whereas you buy this guitar, you're getting everything you want from that big brand, but it's right out of our backyard. Yep. Right? And I just love that. This guitar is alive. You can feel it. I don't know what it is about it.
I didn't know what to expect from the Pine.
It's amazing. You hold it and it feels like it's almost hollow. Mm-hmm. It just feels, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a magic guitar. It's four-way.
Four-way.
Nice. Whoa. The sound is just incredible. Just got everything, like all the different, just about any sound you want is going to come out of that one body. It's got that fat Gretschy sound. It's got that, on your third position, it's more of a jazz. Mm-hmm. Then you've got I don't know. It's just hard to describe it. You'd have to sit in front of an amplifier with this thing. You play with it all day, just like a giant rainbow of guitar sounds. And I love it. I love the color of it. I love the neck. The neck is just to die for. And, yeah, good on you. I love this one.
It turned out well.
I say so. All right. Lightfoot would love this. We call her Naughty Pine.
Yes.
All right. On to the next guitar. So here's guitar number 4, and I just want to say, you told me about this guitar on the phone, and I, as an acoustic guitar player, have always longed to have an electric body that sounded like a guitar, right?
Okay.
Fender has recently put out those modeling
Yeah.
guitars. They're not that good because their tops are like tissue paper. You can push those buttons right through them by accident, and I've seen it. Picked one up in the store and it's just cracked right all along the buttons where it just, because the top is just like paper. They have to do it that way to put all the chambers in it and whatnot, right? Taylor, same thing. The T5, it's okay, but it doesn't really sound that much like. It just sounds like it sounds like an electric being forced through processing that is not natural, right? And then you get a lot of magnetic overtones and all that weird stuff that people get. Acousticasters, like there's been tons of them. Godin makes them.
Yep.
They just don't sound like a guitar, an acoustic guitar to me for some reason. They are close, but and this one doesn't sound like an acoustic either, but it's way more pleasant. It actually reminds you of an acoustic as opposed to hearing it and going, well, that doesn't sound natural.
Yeah.
This sounds completely normal when you make the change. I couldn't believe it because I thought this would be interesting. I first thought I wouldn't see any difference at all, really, because my brain's wired that way, right? To be so attuned to what a flat top sounds like. But this thing just blew my mind. So tell me about the wood on this.
The top on this one is Babinga.
Oh, I love Babinga. I have Babinga guitars here. Yeah.
It's in the Rosewood family.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's now become illegal to use it.
Right. Unless you have a certification.
Certification.
Moratorium, yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. But
Yeah.
it's a really pretty
Mahogany again.
mahogany back.
Gloss neck.
Yep. Seymour Duncan pickups in this one.
Yeah. Now tell me about this other component that turns this into an acoustic guitar.
The system is the Go system from Graphtech.
So this battery is powering your acoustic system?
Yep. And
Right.
it's your whole system is running through it. Your electors are running through it too. So if your
Right.
battery dies, you lose everything.
Right.
Just because of
And
the
this
preamp
is
system.
AA or 9 volt?
9 volt.
9 volt, okay.
Yeah, it's a Graphtech system it's built into the saddles.
Oh, I just noticed all the wiring going through.
Yep.
Aha. Well,
And,
it's amazing. Again, it's your installation and the choice of wood and stuff that causes that resonance. Because I mean, I've seen. I don't think I've seen this system before, but I mean, there's all kinds of systems like this, and they don't seem to reach
I think
critical mass somehow, right?
I think theirs is the best.
Yeah, I would say it's the. So here's the electric guitar, right? Again, it's beautiful, warm. It's got a 3-way switch on it. There's so much personality between the two. Like that, so telly. And that starts to get really stratty, right? But the top end is nice. Fat. think this might be my favorite. I don't know. Okay.
I'm doing good here.
Here things get really messed up. This switch here is a three-way. You can either be electric or acoustic, or a mixture of the two. You have a mixture of the tailpiece sensors with the magnetic pickups. So here's the acoustic setting of the guitar. So that defeats all of this. This is off when this is on, and your separate volume button is right back here, and you can tell because it's chrome. But here's the acoustic. That's magic. Like that's really something. That's doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard before.
We've made a few modifications to the basic system.
Right.
To get to that tone.
Yeah. You told me there was quite a process
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to make this actually do
Yeah.
what a dreadnought player would want it to do, right?
Yeah.
And then if you set this in the middle, you've got the best of all worlds. You have this and the pickups to choose from, which is even better.
It's big.
Yeah, that big with the bridge pickups on. That's almost one of the best telly sounds ever. Mm-hmm. The combination of the bridge pickup with this sensor, so much meat on that.
And you can blend them back and forth, put a little electric with the acoustic and vice versa.
You can blend this system in and out. You have all. I mean, this is really you could spend days just tailoring sounds.
Yeah.
With just the equipment that's in this guitar. It doesn't. You don't need any pedals. You don't need. There's a million things you could do. A million combinations.
It'll cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, and you say 17.
Yep, that's what
1750.
Yep.
This is absolutely ridiculous, folks. That is one of the nicest electric guitars I think I've ever played because it's so versatile, and it plays beautifully. It's got. I just like all these guitars are just set up immaculately, and I was saying earlier, like this would be the kind of guitar you could even get away with putting perhaps a super light wound G, so you'd get more meat when you switched over to acoustic. You'd actually have a wound G, which would alter.
I'm going to order some.
Yeah,
see what it does.
It'd be fun, to see. It would affect the electric side of it a little bit. Mm-hmm. They're not as zingy as you want them to be, but. Yeah, I mean, that's just amazing. Just amazing. All right, we got one more, don't we?
One more.
One more. Here we go.
The big one.
Okay, last one, folks, and this one is a dandy. This is a 9-string, and I've seen these before, but I've never played one, and I find this one fascinating because it's sort of the best of both worlds for somebody who doesn't want a full 12-string guitar because they get a little wonky in electric form, right? And the best ones you're going to find these days are the old Rickenbackers that they manage to actually hold tune, but their action is horrible, and the necks are like that wide, and you have these tiny little fingers, right? So this guitar gives you the best of both worlds. So your E and A are by themselves, but then the D, G, and B are paired, just like a 12-string. And then the bottom E is by itself. So tell me about this. Like, how did you... Tell me about how you did this, why you did it.
I seen a video a couple of years ago. Taylor Custom Shop had built a few acoustics.
Right.
G models, I think they were.
Right.
Doyle Dykes had one, and a few others. I think there was 200 total across the thing. And I just wanted to see if it would translate to an electric.
Yeah. And it was a 9-string they were making.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dedicated 9-string.
Wow. So, yeah. And so this, of course, is flame maple.
Western flame maple
Western
again.
flame, and is bound in what?
It's
That's
not
really
bound.
nice.
That's natural binding. It's just cut in after the
Oh, okay.
top.
Cool.
Yeah.
Your mahogany is gorgeous, too.
I love mahogany.
Look at the flame in that. Yeah. And a semi-satin neck this time.
Mm-hmm.
Just really, really nice. And, yeah, so this thing is cool. Got a lot of output, too. Good for introducing Blue Rodeo songs. That's what it's for, so you don't have to have a 12-string, right? So there you go. Yeah, that is really cool. Like I couldn't even list the number of uses that you'd find for this, especially in a recording studio, when you need a different voice. And those 3 middle strings are so cool for using to play single-line melody, which is where you mostly play the melody on a 12-string, is those 3 strings, not even so much the bottom one. You can get a lot of mileage out of having those 3 strings paired. It gives you everything you want, and then you've still got the nice solid bass end that are just single string. And yeah.
My understanding is it was a Nashville session player thing.
Yeah.
They would take those 3 strings off their 12s.
Yes.
And end up with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and they also the actual traditional Nashville string system is just the small strings from a 12 set, and that's it. And I have one hanging on the wall there. They call it a high-strung guitar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's just the little strings from a 12-string set. Except of course your B and E are just regular strings, but the top 4 are an octave higher. Yeah. And it makes tremendous chords, right? Again, why this is so cool, because when you have those extra 3, the 2 octave strings and a unison on the B, it changes your chord structure when you're doing anything. It'll change the way it'll make you sound like you're using voices that you don't normally use, right? Which is one of the reasons I say, in a studio setting, for a rhythm instrument or something that's doing simple one line, like one single note lines, this is a great tool to have. Yeah. And what did you say this was going for?
About 17. I'm stuck on 17 for some
we got to
reason.
raise your prices, boy, I tell you. So, yeah. And that's all of them, isn't it?
That's it. That's all I brought.
Well, I'll tell you what. This has been a tremendous treat to have you come here. And so a few questions. I have so many questions.
Okay.
You'll have to come back.
Sure.
You'll have to come back.
Got nothing else.
How many guitars can you actually put out in a year?
I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
So 6 is pushing it.
Okay.
At a full-time job, because it takes 5 months to get away with doing it all.
Right.
And I do everything.
Yeah.
I do all the woodwork, the painting, the wiring, everything.
Your finishes are just amazing. Like I'm talking about amazing. That's one of the nicest finish jobs I've ever seen. It's just immaculate. And the grain of the wood is just popping on all of these instruments. Even the pine guitar. It's crazy how good that looks, right?
Well,
so much grain and character on it.
Yeah.
So I guess why I'm asking that is I kind of knew it would be a low number. And I if you want one of these guitars, I would order one soon. I'd like to see it with a waiting list. I think that's what you should have. You should have 20 guitars on order, and somebody has to wait a couple of years to get them, right? Because that's basically the level at which you're building. Like these type of instruments, I know lots of guys who build basses and other electrics, and it's the same thing.
Yep.
They take their time. There's no point in rushing through this.
No.
That's not going to help anyone. And so yeah, if you want a really, really cool guitar that's made right here in Nova Scotia, these are, and you're getting a lot of press about these. I see these people talk about these online.
Yeah.
That's how I found you. I was like, okay, I got to find this guy. Like, why do I see him popping up? And I guess I've seen some people that had them too.
Yep.
And
there's a few out there.
Yeah, and I'm like, I got to find out more about this guy, and so that's why I called you. And that's cool. I'm so glad you came down. So, is there what's the best way to reach you? How do people find you?
The website, www.codyguitars.com, CODY.
Yep.
That'll tell you everything. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook under Cody Guitars.
And you can also contact us here. We'll put Eric's link in the description of this video. And I'm telling you, if you want a really unique instrument, this is it. I'll tell you right now, all 5 of these guitars were just astounding. Just one more than the next. And kind of made me want to start playing electric again for serious. Because, it's
Was it what you were expecting?
No, it wasn't, because I didn't know what to expect. I had no expectations at all. I just knew they'd be good, but I just wasn't sure, because I was just about to say, I'm so far removed from the electric world now. I used to be in the middle of it, right? And like I said, I just find most of the big brand guitars, I wouldn't play them. They're not very good. Yeah. So. And if there are some that are incredible, but they're thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And I just can't afford that for something that I'm only going to use, 5 or 6 times a year, and much more in the studio. I use them here all the time, but I mean, it's just, and it's an inspirational thing, Electric guitars are a different beast for acoustic players like me, and they have a separate inspiration, right? And your guitars have that. They have, like, there's a couple of them here. It's so hard for me to choose at this point now. I kept saying this is my favorite, but can't choose one. But these are guitars you'll sit with for hours, because there's such a huge palette of sound from them, and the playability is 100%. So I don't know. I'm just blown away. I can't thank you enough for coming down. This is incredible. I'm proud you're here. I'm proud you're a Nova Scotian. Building guitars like that.
Thanks for playing them. You definitely made them sound good.
Well, I'm a little bit out of practice, but
wow,
that never stopped me before. Thanks a lot, Eric.
Thank you.
Cody Guitars. www.codyguitars.com. Right here. Just minutes away in downtown Elmsdale. And here's one of the Redwood guitars. I love this thing. It's so light.
Yeah.
Tell us about this one.
This is California Redwood, 1,500 to 2,000 years old, over mahogany. The guy that sells the wood cuts up the stumps.
Wow.
Of the trees that were cut down years ago.
Jill likes it.
It's got a different tone.
It does.
That Redwood.
It really does. All very playable too, this guitar. All of them. They all have just great necks and great action. Very inspirational. What's the price on this one?
That one is $13.50.
Damn. Okay, Eric, tell us about this one.
This one is Big Leaf Western Maple over mahogany. Seymour Duncan pickups. And the basics. That one's about $1,500 out the door, as is.
Nice. I love the pick yard on this one. And the hardware. The hardware is the choice of hardware for the guitar is really sharp. especially with the top like that.
The Goto hardware is
Beautiful.
I love Goto. It's good. It's got great sound. It's got great tone.
Yeah.
It's nice stuff.
And this one here is one of my favorites, as everyone's going to see why. Tell us about what this is and why you chose to do this.
This is Eastern Pine, just our local pine. And it was to basically get the price down, to see how low I could go and still build a good quality guitar.
It's deadly. I love this thing. It's light as a feather. It's got that nice telly-style hardware and just a tremendous amount of tone. And pretty sure that's because of the body choice, right? I think there's something, well, you got a little bit of magic in your hands too there.
That's right.
Maestro.
This one would be $10.75 with a gig bag.
Damn. Now this is your prototype electric acoustic.
Yes.
And again, the build quality is just fantastic. And tell us about how this achieves what it does.
The Graphtec Go system, the piezo system built into the saddles, and there's a preamp inside the body of the guitar, and it blends with the magnetic pickups. That's
what I love about this thing. You can either defeat the electric pickups or use them along with the piezo, which there's so much color and sound possibility with this instrument. It's just astounding.
And it's got a switched output, so you can go to stereo.
Right. Acoustic on one end and electric out the other.
Yep.
That's deadly. And here we call this the Cody Custom Oddity. A 9-string guitar. You can see that the middle strings are doubled. A, E, and little e are single still. Some more wicked maple on the top of this, eh?
That's that BC maple.
Yeah. Everything's mahogany in these guitars except for Old Blue. And yeah, this is a really cool guitar. And you got the idea from Taylor.
I got the idea from Taylor, and it was just to see if I could do it, if it would translate.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's a very interesting instrument. There's probably uses for it that I haven't even considered.
Good rhythm instrument.
It is. It's a tremendous rhythm instrument. And if you want to just use it for, playing that single line, double string, a 12-string sound, that's the way to get it without, polluting the entire fretboard with strings.
Less tuning.
Exactly. I hope you come back. You should come back every few months and bring a new feature guitar.
Well, okay.
That'd be hilarious. We could do it. No problems.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Thanks, everybody. Another episode of Guitar Stuff with John. We just keep doing cool stuff because cool people keep coming over and bringing cool stuff. And that's how we roll here. See you next time.